That's climate change.
Spiel, a long or fast speech or story. S-P-I-E-L. But the other way, here's another one. S-P-E-L.
For everyone from the council is look up Vision 2050. It's about 130 pages, lots of pictures, lots of charts. 37 pages.
One's grammatically correct, one's not.
It's I-E-L.
Actual statements. But like I said, lots of pretty
Spiel
pictures,
about
lots
some
of charts.
Coming from the German word spielen, meaning to play. Das ist sehr gut. Ich habe ein gute Time spielen.
The people at the top have
Errol,
invested.
we've been commenting on the hair coloring on the dais over
Because they'll be
there.
around the longest. So
I don't know what she's talking about.
We share the same barber.
We ready? Good evening. We'll call this meeting to order. If you'd please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. And Teresa, will you please call roll?
Deputy Mayor Pelosi,
Excused.
Councilmember Baggett,
Here.
Councilmember Brown,
Here.
Councilmember DeCoursey,
Here.
Councilmember Holman,
Here.
Councilmember Trout Manuel,
Here.
Councilmember Wales.
Here.
All right. We have no announcements, proclamations, or presentations this evening. Do we have any agenda modifications?
No, Mayor, we
Don't
don't.
believe so. We have no public hearings, so we will move right to audience participation. This is a place on the agenda where the public is invited to speak to the City Council on any issue. Those wishing to speak are reminded to sign in on the form provided. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Anyone like to speak? All right, we will move on. We have no correspondence for council review this evening. We will move to council ad hoc committee reports. Council ad hoc committee chairs may report on the status of their ad hoc council committee's progress on assigned tasks and may give their recommendation to the city council, if any. We have the finance ad hoc committee, Councilmember Wales.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember DeCoursey and myself reviewed the vouchers for authorization for this evening, and it is our recommendation that they be approved. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will move to the consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered by the City Council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Do we have a motion? Councilmember Wales.
Thank you, Mayor. I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Brown.
I second that motion, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Wales.
Pretty standard stuff. The minutes of the August 26th study session, the minutes of the September 3rd City Council meeting, and the vouchers and payroll information that Councilmember DeCoursey and I reviewed.
Are there questions or comments? All those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Passes. All right, we will move on to resolutions. Ms. City Attorney.
Resolution number 5454, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, declaring the city's intent to adopt legislation to authorize a sales and use tax for affordable and supportive housing.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Councilmember DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adopt Resolution 5454.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Councilmember Holman.
second.
Thank you. Councilmember DeCoursey.
We've had a number of discussions and briefings on this. This is for the House Bill 1406 that allows cities to take a portion of the sales tax that's already been levied, so no additional taxes on the citizens. And that sales tax is collected and to be used for supporting affordable housing objectives. The city will realize approximately $155,000 annually that can be used toward affordable housing initiatives. And this resolution requires the local municipality to adopt the resolution for its intent to use the maximum capacity of the tax.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Councilmember Brown.
I just want to point out that I'm very proud that the city is moving forward on this. We have a critical issue of housing in this community and in the region, and I'm glad to see that we're taking advantage of this opportunity.
Thank you. All right. All those in favor of resolution number 5454, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. Passes. On to ordinances.
Ordinance number 6727, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, granting new Singular Wireless PCS LLC a franchise for wireless telecommunications facilities.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Councilmember Holman.
I move to adopt ordinance number 6727.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Councilmember Wales.
I'll second that.
Councilmember Holman.
Yes, this is to grant a franchise to Singular Wireless for telecommunications facilities. We've discussed it at last study session.
Questions or comments from council? All those in favor of ordinance number 6727, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. Passes.
Ordinance number 6732, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, related to sales and use taxes, authorizing an additional sales and use tax for affordable and supportive housing and amending Chapter 3.60 of the Auburn City Code.
Thank you. Councilmember DeCoursey, did you want to make that motion as well?
Thank you, Mary. Yes, I will. I move to adopt ordinance number 6732.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Councilmember Troutman.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember DeCoursey.
So as we just passed the resolution, this is kind of the next step of asking council to approve an ordinance that would actually allow us to use the sales tax. The other was the intent. This gives us the authorization to use it wisely, and to use it well.
Thank you. Questions or comments? All those in favor of ordinance number 6732, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. Passes. All right. That will conclude the business portion of the meeting. We will move to mayor and council member reports. At this time, the mayor and city council may report on significant items associated with their appointed positions on federal, state, regional, and local organizations. Tonight, we'll begin with Councilmember Baggett.
Thank you, Your Honor. On Thursday, September 5th, I had the honor and privilege of attending the public groundbreaking ceremony by the Muckleshoot Tribal Council at the Muckleshoot Casino Resort. The event was very well attended and included presentations by Mr. Jesse McDaniel, Jr., the Assistant General Manager, Mr. Conrad Granito, Jr., the General Manager, and Mr. Jason Elkins, Muckleshoot Tribal Council Chair. Scheduled to open in 2021, this 18-story, 400-room luxury hotel tower will culminate a multi-year transformation of the tribal gaming and resort facility and will be a welcome addition to the Auburn community. In a true Muckleshoot tradition, the sumptuous buffet lunch was provided for all of those in attendance following the ceremony, of which I partake of. I think that's the right word. Anyway, also on the 11th, I attended the EMAC, which is the Emergency Management Advisory Committee for King County in Renton. And after a moment of silence for those who perished and survived on this date in 2001, the meeting began in earnest. This meeting focused on a presentation by the Pierce County All Hazard Incident Management Team, or AHIMT. This team is one of the only highly specialized emergency management teams in the state that may be called upon to provide either complete oversight or specialized and focused support to cities and counties throughout Washington state in the event of a major incident or emergency. The overview was co-presented by Police Chief Scott Engel of Puyallup and Fire Chief Cliff McCollum, retired, of Pierce Fire Department number 13. Some of the many incidences this team have responded to include, but were not limited to, the Lakeland police murders, the Okanagan wildfires, the Roy grain silo collapse, the Lewis County floods, the Oso landslide, and the recent Amtrak derailment over I-5. This was a very comprehensive presentation that I will share with our police, fire, and city emergency management staff in the event that our region should require these specialized services. Thank you.
Councilmember Baggett, may I
Yes.
just clarify, did you mean the Lakewood police murders? Not the Lakeland police murders?
It said Lakeland.
Lakewood is where the 4 officers
I
were
remember
murdered.
the 4 officers that were shot there. Yeah, that's probably correct.
Okay,
I
thank you.
stand corrected.
Thank you. Councilmember DeCoursey.
No report, thank you.
Councilmember Wales.
No report.
Councilmember Trout Manuel.
I'm sorry. Okay. I just have to share my going to the senior center for my coffee hour, and it's always a pleasure to go, and it's always the same ones there and sharing the same things. But this one time, I have to say, Chief Pearson, that there was an 83-year-old lady that just loves Tammy Capilli, because she gets to her fences immediately with the graffiti and everything, and all she kept doing is praising how wonderful this young lady. She has not met her, but she's talked to her on the phone, and she says she gets on top of stuff. She also comes to the front yard and she makes sure that things are done correctly. So I just wanted to tell her that this lady thinks she's it in the city, in the police department for the city of Auburn. And also, she says she'll be sending her some more. She makes postcards and stuff. She'll be sending her another one because she just came over and painted her fence again. So I just wanted to share that with you. We also had some other concerns that they're saying. They also thanked our city for doing the safety improvements of right there in front of the senior center. They says now they feel safe, that they can cross the streets and not worry about being run over. And they also wanted to extend a thank you to our department, and I told them it was you, Ingrid. Also, there was another issue, but I'll talk to the directors on some of the things that they're seeing that we need to address. That's my report. Thank you.
Okay, and Tammy Capule works in code enforcement, and so that would be Jason. So Jason, when she
Oh,
returns from
okay,
leave,
Jason.
make sure to please share those kudos with her.
Yeah, they just
you.
love her. They just love her, so let her know.
Councilmember Brown.
I have no report tonight, Mayor.
Councilmember Holman.
Ditto.
All right, well, I will just give a brief update on the regional homelessness governance model. We had the press conference on Wednesday, September 4th. That is the desire for Executive Constantine and Seattle Mayor Durkin to enter into an interlocal agreement where their funds are pooled so that there are no duplication of services. And there is a hope that many of the other, if not all of the King County cities will align with this interlocal agreement. We are far from being there, as I have said in the past. There are numerous issues that still need to work through, but there is hope that those issues can be worked on. And after that, after the press conference, we did have a 2-hour meeting with King County and Seattle council members to talk through some of those issues, because the agreement had just been transmitted to both of those councils. And so that was the first opportunity to look at the exact language and what those councils will have to work with. As some of you may know, King County Councilmember Reagan Dunn has provided an alternative solution, and so that will be taken up as well. On the homelessness and human services front here in Auburn, we continue to meet with potential service providers that would fill space at our recently approved one-stop shop approach down at the north end of town. I'm happy to report there's a great deal of interest with some of the local service providers, and the ability to have that one-stop approach where they can receive their services in one spot is taking a great deal of favor. So I am very excited about that, and we will keep you informed. And also on Friday the 13th, which was a good day for us, we had the good fortune to swear in one of our newest our newest officer, Officer Jonathan Faddis, and he was #1 in the academy on tactics. No,
Yeah, he was #2 in his class on practical skills, and, no, excuse me, #1 in practical skills, #2 overall.
yes. So we should be very proud of the caliber of young people that are coming out of the police academy and coming to work on the department here in Auburn. And that is all I have to report. Ms. City Attorney, do we have any need for an executive or closed session this evening?
No, no, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We are adjourned.
That's a record.